the thing is that if everyone here is in the same like mind, you have to assume that this was not a strategy. You know, this wasn't what they were planning all along. This isn't things going smoothly. This is like something must have happened that people aren't aware of.
No, I agree with that.
Organizationally,
yeah,
that force someone's hand
behind closed doors.
Yep. That's what that has to be.
This late in the
because
year?
the Nuggets are not going to be where they are in the West. Be like, yeah, and then you know what we're going to do next? We're going to fire our head coach.
No,
doesn't make any sense.
I believe that it has something to
do. So what's going on really in the West?
Don't get me wrong. You got a lot of notable
this guy
mentions.
with
that I might have.
Hold on. You're talking about this person right here?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This guy is
icon,
scary
baby.
looking, bro.
With the bat, too. He brought that bat out.
Yo, he looks like a member of KISS.
This is specifically for the motherfuckers who came out here claiming to represent hip-hop but really didn't do shit to preserve the value of the fucking art form, the way of life. Hip-hop is a way to live, man. It ain't no institutionalized religion or something. It's a way to live. It's a culture, dog. You know what I mean? You know, so if you ain't really got nothing beneficial to offer this hip-hop shit, preserve the value of the art form, the music, the way of living, don't even fuck with it. We don't need dead weight motherfuckers.
Well,
so
thank you. Look, I appreciate you guys giving me some insight because I'm trying to hop into it. So
it's fun. Wrestling's fun, to say the least.
Best time to be a wrestling fan.
This is all we're doing right now is just talking about the shit that we think that's fun. So as far as things that are fun, it's what we all came here for.
Absolutely.
It's time. 1 year, right now. Your mock draft. Jeremy Striano mock draft. We're getting the top 10.
Yes, we're getting the top 10. I mean, 32 would just be a lot.
No, we'll be here for 5 hours. You might have to pack a sleep.
I'm gonna let Jeremy rock this whole thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't done any research on the draft at all.
Right.
So today, I am going to spectate on the expertise.
Yeah, and
the germ.
Give me the takes. This is just me. If I was a GM of these 10 teams, obviously my analysis is going to be wrong. I'm probably going to go, man.
Hey, but we're not thinking about it like that because everybody has a mock draft and no one's going to be
no one's right. So
exactly.
So what we got is
I'm just looking for the twists and turns.
Yeah, no.
If I'm being honest with you, if this is a water slide, I'm looking for the loop to loop.
So this is what I'll do. We got 10 players here, top 10. Ooh, I like that little loop to loop.
Little Lasso, saw that.
Ted Lasso, that's my guy.
Love that show.
Still haven't watched it.
Oh, you're bugging.
You have Apple TV?
I do.
It's really good.
Binge it. 3 seasons.
Gotta watch it.
Fourth coming soon.
Yes.
So please.
So we got 10 players, and then we have 3 teams who I think can possibly trade up into these slots right here.
Oh my god.
So we got 3 different teams. So we'll start with number 1.
All right. Yeah.
This is pretty much a lock. If Tennessee, ding ding ding, ding ding ding. If Tennessee does not take Cam Ward 1-1 overall.
Right.
Now, there is another player I think that can go 1-1 overall. There might be 2 players that I think can go 1-1 overall.
Right.
But I don't think Will Levis is the answer in Tennessee. I think, he kind of falls under that Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold. Like, it's just not my time. It's not my place.
Hey, wait, real quick. Let's not talk bad about my boy Sammy.
No, I think he found his place, and he got the bag.
He got the bag.
I'm happy for him.
He found a little success, got out and got his bag, and he's gonna do all right in Seattle. That's it. Done.
But
Done.
I think Cam Ward is the lock. I think Cam Ward is the most talented quarterback in this draft. I think he stands alone on that podium, and I do think that Tennessee needs they need that catalyst back under center.
100%.
I think Cam Ward. Miami was a decent program. I mean, they were in the hunt for the playoff for a while because this is where I come in because I love college football. Like I'm a huge Irish fan. Great run for the Irish, but
what a game.
I thought it was over, if I'm being honest with you, like in the second quarter.
Yeah.
But Ohio State's just a juggernaut. What are you going to do? Yeah. What are you going to do? But I do see Cam Ward as a lock going 1-1. And this whole thing with speculating with the visits, and there's talks that they might trade the first overall pick, which I don't think we've seen. I'm trying to remember if the first overall pick was ever traded. I don't know.
Not in the last 20 years,
No.
I don't think so.
And I don't think it will be this
No,
year.
wait. No, wait, hold on. Don't tell me. Carolina. Didn't Carolina trade the first
last
pick?
year.
Come on, bro.
I just felt that the Chicago.
Hey, what's it fucking called? What's it called? Look at it. Come on, baby boy.
Woo!
Come on,
Sorry, I
baby
had a
boy.
little.
It's fucking Cody's
Oh,
corner.
God.
But anyway,
If anybody doesn't know, I know.
Hey,
Cam Ward 1-1. You know, what do you think?
I think that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, if I'm being completely honest with you, I was looking for where it was going after that, because that's where where my head is at.
Yeah.
I think that it doesn't make, because the other thing is, and
Travis Hunter.
we talked about, no, hell no. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna tell you why he wouldn't go to Tennessee, because they just signed a lot of receivers last year. Tennessee.
He's not gonna play wide receiver. He's primarily gonna play defense, and they're gonna use him
I think
in
you're
wide
incorrect
receiver
about that.
Yeah, I think he's a receiver.
I think he's a receiver in the NFL.
I think he's a receiver.
But we'll
Think
cross
so?
that bridge, right, when we get there. So, you got Cam Ward at 1. This is the one that I think is going to be an interesting
This is
move.
where I was like, there's a couple people that could go number 2 to Cleveland, because I was also saying too, how long has it been, like, just year after year? I feel like Cleveland's been,
swing and a
searching.
miss.
Yeah, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Yeah.
It's hard.
I think if I have it right here, but they cannot drop the ball on Abdul Carter, the greatest.
Okay,
athlete
then.
in
Hold
the
on
draft.
a second. Wait.
greatest
wait.
athlete in
Are
the
you
draft.
paying attention, bro?
I mean-
Yo, what did I tell you?
Greatest athlete in this draft is Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll go back. So this is for the playoff. So the college football playoff.
You're about to make David stop observing real quick. I
What,
hope you
college
know.
football?
He does. He does.
It's quick. It's quick.
He doesn't think that Carter's going to Cleveland.
He thinks he's going next, or he thinks he's going 1.
He thinks that Cleveland needs to pick up a QB in this scenario.
So Shador.
I said I was gonna let you rock, but the only thing I'm gonna say about that is, what are the three most important positions in football in order to win a championship?
QB.
That's number 1.
Offensive tackle.
That's number 2.
That's a
And
good
what's
answer.
number 3?
It's a good answer.
Wide receiver.
No,
Running back?
defensive line, defensive end, because you got to get to the quarterback.
Mm.
You got to need a quarterback, and you got to get to the quarterback, and you got to protect the quarterback. Those are the 3 most important pieces that you need for championship teams. You can look this up. This is
So
a fact.
I landed on one of the 3.
Listen,
this is a
QB
fact.
is definitely one.
Oh, of course.
They don't need. They just signed this guy again to an extension. Did they not?
Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett.
But just think
So
about
now
how
you
deadly
go-
that line would
yeah,
be.
That's
Look,
what I'm
that's
saying,
great.
no.
But you're never gonna fucking score on anybody.
Oh well.
That doesn't do anything for them.
All right, but I
It
do.
doesn't move. This is the problem. The Browns need something that's going to move the needle.
And Shador does that.
I don't know if Shador does that, but I don't think that Abdul
I like
Carter
where Jeremy's
does.
head is at.
If
Can
you
I
would
say
have
that?
traded, if you would have
Right.
traded Garrett, Miles
Miles
Garrett. I was going to say Garrett Miles.
Yeah.
If you would have traded Miles Garrett,
Right.
got assets for it, maybe got some pieces or whatever, then you went out and you drafted Abdul Carter. I'm like, okay,
That's not a
I
bad
can
move.
see-
That's a good point.
I can
That's
see
not a
where
bad
you're
That's a great
going,
point.
but
But
now
that-
you're just gonna what? You fill up 2 sides. Oh my God, we're really good at rushing the passer. We can't do shit else, but we can really rush that passer though. Fuck off.
They're gonna-
To me, that's not. They're probably going to do it though. They're probably going to do it for all the things that you said.
Right.
Best athlete in the thing. This and this and
Don't
that.
let 'em-
metric,
don't
blah, blah,
let 'em
blah,
fall to
blah, blah.
3.
You know what I'm saying?
Just saying.
However,
That would be a shame.
Yeah.
However, what do they value more? I'm not saying it might be a quarterback, but it could be somebody like a Travis Hunter, depending on what, because they need something to, you
They
know,
need that spark. But I do.
And a guy like Travis Hunter can play. He plays both sides of the field. Imagine Travis Hunter being a Brown, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of who he's catching the pass from, catches a pass and
I'll be the quarterback
and-
of the Browns.
Yo,
And-
hey, yo.
and
might as well.
however many plays later grabs a freaking pick off of a freaking nickel package or some shit like that. Browns be going absolutely nuts.
I hope he Shohei Ohtani's this and plays both sides of the ball.
You understand what I'm saying? I think they're gonna have I think they're gonna have
But he's not.
packages. I think they're gonna have packages for him, like throw him in a nickel every once in a while,
Yeah.
or depending on where they want him the most is gonna depend on how they want to package him.
I think that depending
Anyway.
on the organization he goes to will be if he is able to
I
play
just
both
don't
sides of
see.
the ball.
I just don't see. Not saying this isn't taking anything from Abdul Carter, but I just don't see how the Browns, knowing what they need,
Right.
They need some milk.
chocolate milk, do something for make it easy to go down. I don't care, but they need something. And you're probably right.
To get asses in the seats.
And to be honest with you, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
Which is a shame.
you look at the guy and it's like, this is
Like how do we pass on this guy? That's what they're gonna say in the war room.
Yeah.
How do we pass on this guy? But I agree with David's point, and I also kind of back up that point saying
Please,
offensive players I think tend to get more of that juice come draft time
100%.
because they're the skill guys, they're the playmakers. But when you have an athlete, and this is devil's advocate now, when you have an athlete like
Love it.
Abdul Carter, who I'm kind of comparing, now they're kind of different positions, but because they both went to Penn State, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Micah. The way that the hype was around Penn State. Now, yeah, Micah's more of a linebacker, and you can argue there's different playing styles or whatever. I think it's going to kind of come to fruition the same way as when Micah got off in Dallas. I do think wherever Abdul lands, whether if it's Tennessee at 1, which would be crazy, but I would respect it. But they need a quarterback. Browns need a quarterback, but it's like, why do they pass him? Or the team at number 3, who's the New York Giants.
right.
But
The Giants would make
and
sense
now-
to me though.
This is what I'm saying.
so it's either going 2 or 3.
I said I wasn't gonna say anything while you freaking thing, but
It's okay.
Yeah, of course I've been looking at the draft. Duh. Anyway. Anyway.
Yo, who are
It
you
just-
back? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Yo,
I was talking shit
love
earlier.
it, bro.
Take
I'm
it
not
easy.
gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie. So if you want to talk about players that he reminds me of, because I know you're about to explore.
Yeah, well, all I wanted to say was real quick was
Go ahead.
because again you were like how do we pass up on an athlete like Abdul Carter because you've already got one in Myles Garrett.
That's fair.
Fair
You've
enough.
already have one in Myles Garrett, so now go do something that's going to move that needle, that's going to bring some explosiveness to this team.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Like,
This is
so
where Mel Kiper would be like, David, I disagree. I think Abdul Carter, number 1, best player in the draft.
that's fine. I just don't think he needs to. I just don't.
No,
even
and
if he goes
I
number 1,
agree
I
with
just
you.
don't think he needs to go to the Browns.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to
right,
say.
right.
Right,
But it's
right.
like, yeah, you just gotta, you can't.
Because if he goes to the Giants,
If he goes to the Patriots at 4, it's the same.
you put
and we have to play against him for
That's
at
a-
least
Abdul
5
Carter?
years.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter, Sexy Dexy, Dexter Lawrence,
Thibodeau?
Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh, jeez, Louise.
But now it's like they need people to.
Then you
they
got-
need playmakers.
I mean,
now.
they just
Well,
signed a
Tyrone-
couple QBs.
well,
and
first
they
of
have
all, Malik Neighbors,
Oh,
playmaker. Tyrone Tracy, playmaker. That boy nice.
he is nice.
Tyrone Tracy nice. And what's the other one? The other wide receiver. He's not bad either.
No, not
he's
Sterling Shepard. He's
Oh,
not Sterling
well,
Shepard.
There's
The young boy. He's young too.
Jalen Hyatt.
Is it Jalen Hyatt?
There's another who
Let's
I'm
see.
blanking on.
Let's see.
But he's good. He just doesn't get the ball as much because obviously Malik Neighbors is there.
Right, that's your one. That's
That's your 1A.
Yeah,
like,
1A receiver.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But anyway, so that's what I think. Other than that, I think it's kind of like a crapshoot, and I'm sure you have it more lined up. But
Yeah, I mean, but
those were that was the only qualm that I had with him,
right.
and so that's the only qualm that I have with your list.
That's
there.
that's a good word. I haven't heard that word in a while. Can I
Qualm?
say it?
You like that one?
Can
Qualm.
could
I
throw
hope
a
you
little-
write down. I hope you write down all the
Could
shit
you-
that I bring
nah,
to the table.
you know what? What'd you say not last episode, but the
What'd I
episode
say?
before that? I think you
What'd I
said.
say?
I think you said. Man,
What'd I say?
What was that word that you said?
What I said.
Well, but hold on, give me a second. So I can
Tell me
think
what I
about you
said.
I feel like I'm listening to an ad lib.
What I
So
said.
here I'm thinking about what I said. So then I'm gonna be like, yeah, but what I said. Nah, it was it was a word that sounded French and it ended in like
What I said.
it was like you were pivoting in a conversation and you said, I can't think
What I
about
said.
it. I can't think about it.
What
When it comes to my
I
head, we're going to be in the middle of talking, and I'm going to be like, boom.
said. Yeah, what he said. All right, go ahead.
Renaissance.
All right. So now,
It was like, it wasn't like Basquiat, but it ended in like a ot. It was like a...
Anyway,
I can't remember.
pick
So
three.
anyways, look. So before we jump into that,
Okay, okay.
before this is all I wanted to say about number
Yeah.
2. Abdul Carter to me coming out of the draft reminds me a lot of Chase Young. In the sense that
Hope he has a better career.
if he does but look,
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting to. I think Chase Young could have had, on top of going to a disgruntled Washington
before the
before the
Renaissance.
Renaissance. Hey, there you go. If we can throw those back
come
together. It was kind of like they were not really in the place to have a successful season because they were also rebranding at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got hurt. And I'm not wishing injury on anyone, but it's a really good DN that goes on a nobody team in the hopes of making his name for himself. And if he can't, he grows somewhere else. I think that Chase Young ended up going to San Francisco and New Orleans. I don't know where he is now, but I think I don't want to say he's going to be a floater, but I think coming into the draft, you see this as one of the most athletic people, even though it's not one of the shiniest positions that people, like you said, put people in the seats.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, oh my God, we have this. Like when we got Quinnen, were you like, oh my God, I got to go see this guy?
no.
You know?
Oh,
like,
well,
I knew he was
I
good.
get what I'm saying.
I
though.
was
Besides
happy.
the God bless you, thank you that we were
I
talking
knew
about.
Quinnen was good though,
Right,
obviously,
'cause-
But was he going to make you go to a game?
no.
He was number one on Mel Kiper's big board. Quentin Williams was the best
look,
athlete.
he was
in that,
the guy.
that
Don't get me wrong. We
2019
got him at
draft.
third.
20
No, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken,
Yeah.
we got him at third.
The number one prospect fell to 3,
Yeah.
and we got him. And he's
Listen,
locked up, and he's got the bag.
So that's all I got to say.
And his
I
brother's
don't-
just as
it's-
nice.
for a defensive player to get me like I can't even remember the last
Sauce.
defensive player, not even the last defensive player that like made me say, "Oh, I gotta watch this." You know what I'm saying?
It was
This guy,
Revis for me growing up.
You
As
know?
a kid.
The last
but
guy-
I'm saying
Like
not,
in a
not-
draft.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like coming out of a draft where I'm saying to myself,
It was
"Man,
sauce
I gotta
for me.
watch. Like I gotta watch that guy play because he's that on the defensive side." You understand what I'm saying? When's the
Yeah.
last person you said like that? Because even said, because like
out of the
Were
draft,
you weren't high on like a Micah Parsons.
Bosa
Mm,
or TJ Watt.
JJ was a stud at Wisconsin.
I mean,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
fell to like he was like a mid first round.
no,
They weren't
it's always
calling your
been
name like
offensive
that?
players, and that's just me making a point.
It's always a quarterback,
It's
right?
true.
It's usually it's a
And that's
quarterback.
just me making a point because
Yeah.
the majority of fans don't watch college.
Right.
Right, so they're gonna see a couple highlights and they're gonna say, "Oh, that's gonna be good for our defense or whatever."
Can you show them the Syracuse that you got out right
You know what
now?
I'm saying?
Let them
Fran
know who watches college.
But-
Fran Brown's take us to
But
the
with
playoff.
that being
Come on.
There
said,
you
but
go.
with that being said, you know, the I'm trying to think of like offensive player comparatively
Say
to
what you need to say.
say what you need to say. Anyway,
Feeling like a one-man.
Yo, you hit that.
Thank you,
Thank
did.
you.
Can we talk
With a
about
little
yeah, that shit like
Oh!
the pivot his
You could do Creed, Pearl Jam,
Yeah,
John Mayer.
all
the
of those
same
have that
Cher.
same voice.
Hell no.
Hell
no.
no.
Yo, so I'm just saying that like in the Browns, to go back to the Browns real quick.
Whatever you want.
I was just saying in the fact of like that's what excites fans,
Yeah.
right? For the most part, is like those offensive players because that's how you score. That's how you whatever. So yes, even if your team needs a defensive player or whatever, and even if he's like a freaking extreme talent, like unless you're diving deep into like the college and all that stuff like that, like I'm sure Aaron Donald, I don't even know when he was drafted.
That's a good one too, though.
Right? You see how I'm throwing? I don't even know when he was drafted. I know Aaron Donald is great solely because of the NFL.
Was it 13?
It's around that. It's around like 12,
14?
13.
And he changed an organization. Like he helped change an organization.
That's true.
That's how good he was.
That's true.
But I wasn't watching them games for Aaron Donald. Well, let me not say that. Obviously in the NFL, but like when he first came, like I wasn't sitting there like, oh man, you know what I mean? I was realistically,
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
the Rams are bad. I mean, they obviously had
Right.
a high pick and
right?
You know,
Realistically, I'm watching. You know what I mean?
They were
Like,
going nowhere. After they when they had this guy from the Lions.
Jared Goff.
And they had Jared Goff, like
Right.
in that little run, Todd Gurley started breaking apart, and you're
Mhm.
like, listen, what's
TG.
going on with LA? And they
TG
had
City.
that.
so that's all I mean is just that, obviously offensive players and things like that tend to bring more excitement to whatever organization is drafting them,
He's gonna throw a touchdown. He's gonna catch a touchdown.
or whatever the case may be.
You're not going to the stand. You're not a little kid. And you're like, oh my God, look, they
No,
stopped
listen,
him on third and long.
A sack is one of my favorite plays. This is why I got Big Quinnen right here. I love defense.
Right.
But in reality,
That's why you be eating the W pancakes.
But if we defense with championships, if we're being realistic though,
Right.
like, what sticks in your mind longer, that sack or that touchdown? The sack to win the game or the touchdown to win the game?
The Malcolm Butler interception. That's a good one. That's on the line.
Devil's
on the line.
advocate.
That's on the line.
That was
That's
a good
my
one.
favorite thing to talk about. If you haven't
That's-
noticed, is that I love to flip the coin because it shows you a perspective that like other people just don't have that shit.
But that
if
was-
everybody all was on the same point,
run the damn
what
ball.
conversation are we having?
But why was that more iconic? Was it more iconic
Because
because
it never happens.
it was more iconic because we all knew the offensive play that should have went down?
Right.
Sean Lynch.
Yeah.
You're at the one line and you got Marshawn Lynch. Run that ball.
I think of Richard Sherman watching the Jumbotron like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yo, didn't Richard Sherman just get a crazy job somewhere or something like that?
Anyway.
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
neither here nor
So
there.
where we?
Let's
What number we
please-
on? So now we're
Yeah,
on
look,
3.
So now
right?
we're on 3. We got
who
New
the
York.
Giants?
We're at the G-Men. This is where Travis Hunter goes.
Let's
Not
go.
me.
That's all
However,
I'm saying.
this is where I think. So this is one of my 3 teams that I think can trade up for someone like Travis Hunter if he continues to fall. And this is where I see, because I'm looking at it from just things that have happened. A certain team lost a certain receiver, I believe. Deebo Samuel gone out of San Francisco. And this is
Yep.
where I think the 49ers can jump from 11 into the top 10
Oh.
if Travis Hunter continues to fall. Now, will the Giants trade down? Probably not.
Probably not.
Joe Shane and Brian Dable are 2 guys that have been on the hot seat since, I believe, the beginning of last year.
Right.
Since the Tommy Cutlets era.
Yeah.
So now they have big trusts. They got Jameis Winston.
Right.
Chicken
Tom-
cutlet sounds great right now.
I had a chicken cutlet today. It was pretty good.
There
It's
you
very
go.
good.
There
Shout
you
out to
go.
Milburn Deli.
I had some boyogi salad today.
I had some chicharron de pollo today,
Come on, bro.
which is probably why I want
so.
a cutlet.
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
I'm like,
Look, listen.
I felt left out. I'm sorry.
Amigos.
But,
You're my friend.
Take it easy. This is where Travis Hunter ends up. I have him going to New York, but I can see a team like San Francisco making that trade up, at least attempting. So we might find out after the draft that okay, maybe San Francisco offered the 11, their second rounder, and maybe next year's.
and Brandon Ayuk.
Why San Francisco?
I don't know. I just see them looking for a playmaker for Brock Purdy again, and I
Yeah.
think I'm looking at it from a marketing perspective too,
Right.
and I like putting Travis Hunter in a team like either New York or the Bay Area, a franchise that's had its juice, had its run.
Travis Hunter, sorry to interrupt you. Travis Hunter, with Kyle Shanahan's mind.
I was just thinking that myself. That's why I think that's a very interesting thought process to have, because he is an extremely creative playmaker as far as a coach goes.
Travis Hunter would look pretty sick in a 49ers uniform.
Come on, that gold and red.
Mhm.
He's already rocking the gold. Switch
Gold and black.
switch the black out for the red.
Boom.
It's not a bad look right there. Can we? Wow. I
Kyle
like that
Shanahan
one.
would utilize
So you
the shit out
think?
of
So
that.
there's no way Travis Hunter passes 3. Either someone makes a move for the 3, or he gets.
I
picked
think
at
the
3 by New York.
farthest Hunter falls
Furthest.
furthest. Sorry.
This guy, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think he falls to 4, so that's New England.
Yep.
So I think Travis Hunter's either picked between 2 and 4. That's his window.
Can we just point out at this point if this is really where the high, like the what's the word I'm looking for, probability is?
Mhm.
You don't see Shador going top 5.
No.
Interesting.
He looked at the notes too.
He meant it.
Yeah.
But
He
I do
wasn't
have him
gonna
in the
lie.
top 10 though.
I mean, listen, and as you should, you know. But I think, wow, that is quite interesting right there. Now, if for any reason, because this is just to throw what I thought was going to happen, if for any reason the Giants didn't go Travis, I thought they go Shador right there.
But because of what happened with these two quarterbacks coming in, that changes your plans.
Exactly.
Right. I had Shador going to New York, or I had him going to New York, or like before all the home run props, or
No.
He gets distracted sometimes. It's okay.
Actually, because it's a really good game that's coming on in a minute. Timberwolves and Grizzlies, and we were just talking
We
about
were
that.
just having that conversation.
dangerous teams.
The teeth.
Right to my Adam's apple. God. He'd be like, you watched the game. He just, and it's all right. It's just there's no stimulation like you said with the prop, so got to make sure you're, eyes on the prize. You feel me?
Yeah.
I think that I'd be scared if Travis Hunter ended up in our division. Can we say that?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a chance that Abdul Carter ends up in our division too. So it's either one side of the ball. Like New England's getting a playmaker no matter what. And if you want to transition to New England at number 4,
Let's hear it.
I have them going defense. I have them going Mason Graham. I think Mason Graham out of Michigan, he's been getting a lot of buzz with the combine, with Michigan's pro day. So what I do is I just look at overall rankings from different analysts, Kuiper, McShay, whoever it is, Daniel Jeremiah on NFL Network, and I've been looking at who impresses in the combine, who impresses in the pro day.
Right.
So someone like a Will Campbell, which is he's an offensive tackle out of LSU. People were very impressed by his wingspan. So certain attributes that stand out. Whether if it's your 40 time, your vert, your bench, how strong you are.
Right.
I think Mason Graham is just one of those overall athletes that will just make an impact on no matter what team he gets drafted to. And it's also death taxes in New England drafting a white player, which is fun, even though it's not Bill
That's
Belichick.
true. That's true.
But Mason Graham,
I like
number
it.
4.
Okay.
No trades here yet, so we might have
Potentially.
Yeah, our next trade comes in at number 6, so we're jumping ahead.
Listen. So, do you want to go right to 6?
Well, we'll go to 5.
All right, we're gonna go in order. All right, we'll keep it at 5.
So we got Duval.
Yeah, you.
Liam Cohen. Oh man,
Yeah.
what an impression! What a
You want to talk about a pop? He was waiting for the pop.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't get a pop.
He was just like that.
They thought he was gonna go Duval. They'd be like, yeah. It was crickets.
Yeah, 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. This is so we're going back-to-back Michigan Wolverines here. Have him going corner. Will Johnson, the guy that I was talking about with the Jets.
Interesting.
But I think he gets taken at 5. To
Not
James.
a bad move though.
No, not at all. And Johnson was one of those guys early in the year. Like, you look at mock drafts when the season is underway, but a lot can happen. Johnson was a guy that had to deal with injuries in this past college football season. There were talks about him being a top 3 pick, but with the emergence of the quarterback position in Cam Ward, Travis Hunter winning the Heisman, Abdul Carter being an absolute freak, where does Will Johnson fit? So I have him falling not too much, but I have him going 5 in a division like the AFC South where I think he can make a name for himself.
Right.
That division's been with the emergence of the Houston Texans and Indianapolis, who will they ever get their shit together? Maybe. I like Anthony Richardson.
Why?
I don't know, he's just
I mean,
fun.
let's not start.
No, he's just fun.
So you like Daniel Jones?
What's a 6 pick? No, just
No, can I? Because I'm curious, right? And I think that's a good move at 5th. Some could argue that that's a very high pick for a corner.
It is. Oh, well,
extremely.
But you go back to the Sauce draft. Derek Stingley's taken right before him. That's 2 corners in 3 and 4.
That's true.
So there are positions. Obviously, we'll get to the running back because there is a running back in my top 10.
I know
for
who
you.
it is.
You know who it is.
Ashton Tinty.
Yeah.
Who else is it going to be?
Well, way to build the suspense, David.
They know.
Could have won the Heisman. But Travis Hunter's just an
So
absolute
I'm
freak.
looking right here. It says that Will Johnson earned the Defensive MVP award.
Even when getting hurt.
So this
Even when
guy's-
dealing with a slight injury, yeah.
So this guy's the real deal.
Mm-hmm. I love, Michigan, obviously the national champions 2 years ago.
Right.
They're just a great... They develop players well. And they always find a way now to beat Ohio State. So Ohio State has that asterisk right now. If you ask an Ohio State fan, fun fact, this season, this national championship season, yes, they won the college football playoff, but you ask an Ohio State fan, they're like, it's not a complete season. And you ask why. It's because we lost to Michigan. That, to the average Ohio State fan, that is their national championship. It is the game. It is Mount Rushmore. If you're talking sports rivalries, it's up there.
That's crazy.
So, Will Johnson at 5, definitely a top 10 pick. We'll transition now to number 6.
Number 6, you got the Raiders.
This is where Ashton Genty gets drafted to the Las Vegas Raiders.
I think that's good.
And this is where I think...
Because Alexander Madison is trash, and so is the other dude that's right
Zamir
behind
White?
both
I
Dukes.
don't have a problem with
Zamir White's way better than Alexander Madison. But
Alexander Madison's
is
the best
jeez.
backup. He was the backup for a long time. The Dalvin
Jeez.
Cook.
Yeah.
And then he became,
Minnesota.
everything there.
Jeez.
One of the worst fantasy pickups.
Yeah.
Like, at a waiver wire. Like, you need a running back. You get
God.
injuries, and it's like, oh,
My man did
Madison's available.
absolutely
and he just
nothing.
never comes through. He didn't even get a touchdown.
Not even. I've seen them
He's
at
the
the
worst
1 yard line.
handcuff possible.
Yeah, man.
gotta say.
He was shit in a bag.
And there's bad teams that have good handcuffs. Don't get
Yeah,
me wrong.
yeah, yeah.
If we can do a swim into fantasy lane really quick, you got Jerome Ford is a good handcuff.
Yeah.
That's a good handcuff.
That's a good handcuff. right
Yeah.
there. Because why? Because the guy at RB1
Nick Chubby.
gets smacked by an 18-wheeler every couple games or so.
He gets
You feel
18.
me?
He gets
And he
18
gets-
wheelers straight to the knees.
Listen, and
every
he gets
fucking-
derailed every once in a while. You feel me? So who comes in to save the day? My boy Jerome Ford. You feel me? But then there's other options in dying. And then there's other options that are not as profitable.
God.
He said RB1 gets hit with an 18.
He does, bro.
Yo, they really do.
His
Nick
shit
Chubb.
be like, yo,
They be-
he comes in on the camera. Yo, can you look at my cup? This is
Yo, they
This
be
is
hitting
Nick
Nick
Chubb,
Chubb
right?
too hard, yo.
that shit be like, if you look at the slow-mo,
Yeah.
and his shit gets lined out like that, bro. I'm like,
Let's
yo.
take another look. And
Yeah, that's slow motion,
Yo,
and they'll
it's
come
not-
from this way with it. If you take a, and you see his the
Yo.
thing you shouldn't be seeing in his
Right.
leg off, you see.
Yo, that's fucked up because
Listen,
I'm just thinking
Nick
of
Chubb,
like,
if you're watching, man, like,
Listen, I
all,
love
all,
Nick
all,
as a
all
matter
best
of
to
fact-
you.
Can
as
we
a matter of
look?
fact-
We don't wish injury upon
No.
anybody.
As a matter of fact,
know?
Nick Chubb, you need to talk to the league because they're hitting you too hard. I don't know
agree.
why
I agree.
they keep hitting you the way they do, bro.
You need to have your knee
You
pad.
know what it is? It's because you short and stocky. You just look like you strong.
He is no. I mean, look,
He ain't that. His knees
he's not-
ain't shit.
Listen,
Strong as you want up top, motherfucker.
Okay,
that
but-
that
but-
bottom half.
listen. There's a reason.
Shit.
There's a reason why running backs can either be a swing or a miss, right? And it's that they are so valuable, but they could be gone.
And we've
Right.
got 2 home run hitters on our team, 2 swings. Brees and Braylon.
Braylon Allen.
Fucking love our duo,
we
yo.
got two
We actually got
swings.
3.
One's a home run. One gets you on base.
Double. Remember
And how do you win games?
Yo, didn't we talk about this last time?
Right.
If you
I
get a
said-
home run while I'm on base, it's an
My
RBI,
Lord,
baby.
This just came full circle. Wow, this is amazing.
happened?
We were having this conversation about something.
They might say it's a home run. I'm going to say it's a double.
There, you remember that? You don't remember that from last
No.
time? Oh my God,
I
David,
don't.
what is going on?
That's
bro?
like number 1 on Jeremy Striano's quotes.
That's Jeremy Striano
list.
quotes.
Yeah.
Like the last time he was here, he went for. I don't have it. You want me to call?
No.
it?
I do. Is what I'm saying is why my memory sometimes.
No,
is
it's
thing.
all right.
I forget who we
Me
were
too,
talking
bro.
about. Was it J.J. McCarthy?
I think we were talking about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about him going to Minnesota and said, look, that could either be a home run or it could be a
now
double.
I see. You
He's
have
either
to
gonna-
jog it.
he's
You
either
have to
gonna be a
jog
great
it.
player,
it just
over
comes
our
full
back.
circle.
Listen, and
There
the
we
fact,
go.
and like, yo, you're just here with the
Full circle.
analogies. I like it.
There we go.
So,
But before
Ashan Janti.
Ashton Genty?
Ashton Genty.
Ashan Janti.
Who'd you say?
I
Who's
can't
that?
read.
Who's that guy?
My-
Who's Ashton?
My problem is I read
Ashton
Hey, man.
Genty. That's
Hey
the
man,
French,
we
the
got
French one you were talking
Ashton
about?
Janky.
Listen,
Who?
My brain every once in a while gets hit like an 18-wheeler. You feel me? So I had to just, bring it back really quick. I can't read that one.
I hope Nick Chubb never sees this episode.
He will.
We love you, Chubb.
He will. Hopefully he does. And you know what? That's views too.
There you right. He's gonna have to relive his knee.
Should we tag him in the episode? Or
Absolutely not.
Yo, Nikki.
Absolutely not.
The Chubster.
Chubster.
Chubbawinski. The Chub Man.
Chubby Bunny.
All right. So,
All right,
But before we go to our team, this is where my second team that could possibly draft or trade up into the top 10.
You're referring to the Raiders.
I'm referring to the Raiders, but
I know who
the
you're
second
say.
team, yeah, because I think it's to me.
The Raiders have 6 and what?
Well, no. I'm saying like this is a team that could possibly trade up for Ashton Genty.
Oh, okay.
The Dallas Cowboys.
I knew it. I was waiting on that one. Mm-hmm. I was waiting
That's a
on
match.
that
was a match made in heaven.
Yup.
But
what does
will they
Dallas
do it though?
give?
Probably not.
What does Dallas give Las Vegas?
That's the thing. Like,
though?
what do they have? Like,
Not a lot. If I'm being honest with you, picks.
They both need an Ashton Genty. Is the problem too?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Raiders have Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Talk about who the Jets. Well, I love Olu. I think Olu's going to be fine.
Olu's also.
And you know what? Jacoby Myers actually was playing kind of good as of late.
I like Jacoby Myers. He's a good flex.
He was playing well as of late for them, but still, they need something, right? You go
absolutely.
out and you get what's the name? Geno, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You go out and you get Geno, so it's like you need more playmaking out there. So did Dallas, like badly, because Dallas never does anything in free agency or anything like that, which is the craziest fucking thing in the world.
So,
but
I just want to mention this because I forgot this happened as well. The Cowboys made a trade for Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
but
during the
but you
offseason,
can
right?
argue that like Genty and Williams, that's a great
It's a
1,
great
2
one,
punch.
because
No,
Javonte's not a
They have
one.
a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this deck. Can I tell you the running backs that are on the?
I know it's
Cowboys
not Dowdle
rosters?
anymore because Dowdle's
It's not
gone.
Dowdle anymore. You got Malik Davis. Who the heck is that? You got Hunter Luke. How do you pronounce that?
Doesn't matter.
So
we don't
Ashton
know.
Genty could still fit into this Dallas Cowboy team.
No,
Miles Sanders.
No.
Javonte Williams. Deuce Vaughn. That is the running back
I
core.
love Deuce Vaughn. Like I loved him in college.
But it's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you
but
gotta-
it's
you gotta-
a lot.
you gotta
It's a
cut.
lot of C players.
Well,
You know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of players.
And
that
here's an A+ where if you can get him,
Yeah.
at least try.
I don't see. Yeah,
He's
I
gonna
see
go.
them
I think
trying.
he goes to Vegas.
Yeah.
Look,
I think so too.
I think in most scenarios, sports-wise, you say to yourself, oh, if there's a player that quote-unquote deserves a big market, you go New York or you go California or somewhere in between the two.
Oh yeah, there's a
I
couple
think
other.
NFL specifically, there's also that huge market in Texas.
Of course.
Right? Because it's a football state. So I think the last running back that really gave them that, and I'm referring to Dallas, not Las Vegas.
Zeke?
Just Zeke. It was when they Zeke's rookie season, crop top Zeke,
Ohio State Zeke
cereal
was
Zeke.
Yeah.
gnarly.
He was insane.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, because Jerry Jones is who he is, that I could see exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
Who's gonna put people in the seats? You know.
No, I can see it, but
It's just it's a
takes
lot
two
of
to
work.
tango.
Right, and
Takes
it's a
two to
lot of
tango.
work
Well,
to
there's
get up
7
to.
to tango with right here. So if you throw him in the mix, you know that's at least enough play time that you won't hurt him either.
yeah. But the problem
You know?
is that I understand what you're saying, and obviously music just turned on.
Oh, that's gonna okay. Well, that means this is a long episode. All right, so I mean, we just keep on going. I
Yeah.
edit it later.
We got 3 more
just
picks.
Jam out for a second. I just hear it through y'all headphones.
What's the
What?
the new TikTok? Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, we're good now.
You just try to head a TikTok dance right here, right now. That's what's
Sometimes I get on the TikTok.
I mean, I get on the TikTok as well.
Jay Uso, you.
Okay, so so
But anyway, so
that was the Raiders.
Yeah. So now.
Potentially, this is it right here. This is what we're waiting for. This is the steak and potatoes right here. He has the jersey on. We got the blanket on the thing.
I hope I make at least one of you happy with this pick.
I want to hear it.
So there's 2 ways. Actually, there might be 3 if Will Johnson does fall. But do you really want another corner? Okay.
No.
But that's not what
We
I
just
have.
lost Reed though.
But right now,
but we picked up old boy from the Ravens.
Yes. What's his name? Stevens?
Yeah, Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
And he's decent.
All right. Sorry.
With Sauce. Sauce is already number 1.
So right now it's...
And we picked up that safety, from the Jaguars, too. Who's
Yes.
nice as fuck.
Oh, Cisco.
You're not allowed to talk about that team.
Cisco.
You can't pronounce it properly.
The Jaguars?
No, enough is enough. You're embarrassing me in front of company, David. What's going on here?
The Jaguars.
The Jaguars. The Lizzie Jaguar.
Anyway, dude. So I don't think we need a corner.
The awesome corner from Jacksonville from the Jaguars
Yeah.
is Andre Cisco. Shout out Syracuse.
Shout out
Safety.
Syracuse.
SU alum. Safety, sorry.
Cisco.
There you go.
So
nasty.
on this big board, so if all these 6 players are gone,
Like you
it's
said,
a big
big
board,
board.
but it's a little ass
It's a
notebook.
big
It's not a big board at all.
Little big board.
Little. No shame in notebook sizes. If we're either going O-line or we're going tight end,
We don't need the tight end.
but I think we do, and I think
Why?
we go Tyler Warren.
Why?
Because he's
He's
a freak
I'm
of
not
an
mad at that.
He's a
I'm not
freak of
mad
an
at that.
athlete, and we passed up on Brock Bowers last year, and I don't want to do it again.
Didn't we just lose this guy?
Now, Jeremy Ruckers.
also lost our-
Yeah, but Jeremy Ruckers there, and guess whose tight end that was at Ohio State?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
So that's a good point.
So
But
he's already got the chemistry with Ruckert.
I think Tyler Warren's just
He's nasty.
Yeah.
He's nasty,
Yeah.
bro. He's a big.
I could see,
motherfucker, dude.
and there's another guy that's off my top 10, but Colston Loveland, who's the tight end at Michigan, 6'6", like just an absolute freak. He's been getting a lot of buzz, getting higher into he was like projected to be a late first rounder, now mid, but I don't think the Jets make that big of a reach. That tight end is right there, and I think Tyler Warren is that playmaker that they need. However, I will not be surprised if they do go O-line because, God, do we need to protect Justin Fields at all costs.
Amen to that. Bro.
And you kind of,
But you got a guy who can block and catch, so hey, killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, you can always play a little 2 tight end set. That always protects your quarterback a little bit. But I think an offensive line
Is the
piece is the more important, especially because you already got Jeremy Ruckert there. So you always want a new quarterback to have the safety blanket, right? And that's what a tight end is a lot of the time.
Right.
So Justin Fields, if you already got that, that chemistry that in him, then it should be
our new centers from Ohio State. Sorry to cut you off, but like that's a good point that David brings up. Like they're trying to reunite all these Ohio State guys for JF7. He's now where numbers? Is he 7? He picked his jersey number, right? 7.
Mm-hmm.
And there were talks of like,
that doesn't ring a bell at all. I'm sorry.
JF2.
It doesn't roll off the
JF2
tongue.
is awesome.
JF7 sounds like an airplane.
Yeah.
Bro.
G6.
I don't know.
Well, he does play for the Jets to sound like an airplane.
God, look at you, thinking ahead, thinking outside the box.
This is why you can wear whatever jersey you feel like, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
We show this, like I said, this is a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you gotta show when it's due. My head didn't go there at all. Could I say that?
You say whatever you want.
It's your show. Your name's on the light.
All right. Well,
My brain.
what's the next picks? Because
Yeah, we'll rattle.
We're all working men here, and
Yeah.
I promise you, I got work early in the morning.
All right, so we'll kind of zoom through 8 through 10 a little bit.
Right.
So 8 is Carolina. Have him going playmaker. Tyrone McMillan out of Arizona. This guy generated a lot of buzz, and I think you got to give a weapon. I think Carolina needs like that offensive. We're talking about offensive players that need to kind of.
What do you mean? They got Adam Thielen.
Okay, well, Adam Thielen's not getting any younger.
No, it's definitely not.
So I have him going receiver.
Xavier Leggett.
Yeah, that his accent is awesome.
I couldn't even try to do it. If I wanted to.
I said,
South Carolina, baby.
What he said? He said, I just be whatever. I just
It's like
don't
Bobby,
eat.
like Bobby Boucher. Actually, it's
I
more
don't
like Farmer Fran.
Remember that Bobby Boucher?
He said, "Oh me where you made." You remember that scene? He said, "Oh me where you made." He like what? Oh, where you made? He's saying home is where you make it. I didn't realize that
I
in my 30s.
never knew what he was.
Yeah, he was saying
All right,
home is where
there
you
you
make
go.
it. Yeah.
That's funny. So the Panthers need another, and they also no longer have the guy that's also been floating around, Deontay Johnson. So that person to maintain those. I mean, he was pretty efficient for Carolina in a couple games he was there.
Emphasis on couple.
Couple.
Yeah.
because it didn't last long. But when
Another
it
one of
was
those
there,
fantasy guys that
you want to talk about a sleeper in fantasy in that little pocket of time that he was at. Yo, he was catching 22.5.
But that's the thing. Like he would max out at like 30 and then like come in at like 4.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's just one of those.
100%.
Story of my life.
So that makes sense to me, bro. You have no pushback on that choice for me. To be honest with you.
Well, so now at number 9, we're staying in the NFC South.
Right.
We got the Nolan Saints.
The
Who dat?
Nolans.
This is where Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
This is where Shedeur Sanders gets taken. However, my final team to attempt to trade into the top 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's going on with Aaron? What's going on? They might want it. They might want an answer soon, and I won't be surprised. Now I know they're waiting for him. I think if Aaron goes anywhere, I think it probably will be Pittsburgh. He had his sessions already.
He has no other choice.
Yeah,
it's either
Pittsburgh or retirement, right? And there's still a chance that he could say, "I'm done."
You don't think he goes to Minnesota at all?
No, I don't think so. I think JJ's their guy. They really want JJ to kind of mold into that QB1.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see now. Will it happen? I can honestly see Shedeur wearing either a Pittsburgh or a New Orleans uniform. I think it's one of the two. It was going to be the Giants, but before Russell and Jameis.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Shedeur going 9 with the attempt of Pittsburgh trying to get into that top 10.
Can you imagine Sanders going from one coach being his father, who's one of the greatest, and then going to Mike Tomlin?
No, I actually think once I heard
we do not care.
Once I heard that speculation of Pittsburgh, which, to be honest with you, I think that's probably what they should be focused more on anyway, because Aaron Rodgers, man, like, I was looking for the head of him. He's over there. It's just one of those things where it's like, you're like, what are you gonna do, bro? Like, stop, dude. Like,
he should stop teasing them.
Stop, bro.
Just give it up. Go live in your house.
Decide what you want to do already, and that's it. So,
like being on the beach thing, like.
But if you look, man, for Shedeur Sanders, for a guy like that to come in, you got a DK Metcalf, you got a George Pickens, you got a Jalen Warren, you got a Pat Fryermuth, you got a coach that has that culture stamped, winning. That's a great situation for a young guy like that. Yep. Coachable, clearly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good, more so than I think for the Saints, because the Saints organization after Sean Payton, and even a little bit while Sean Payton was there, because that's why Sean Payton, one of the reasons why he left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that whole like legal issue.
Yeah, like
whole, like bounty hunting thing.
Right, so I don't trust New Orleans as an organization like that. I just don't. So if I'm Shedeur, and I got to like, I'm talking to Pittsburgh, like, you listen, if you guys are really like, go ahead and trade what you got to trade. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna do what I got to do for y'all, but go ahead and get me, because I'm fucked if I go to New Orleans.
Right.
And don't get me wrong.
And I truly do think he is fucked if he goes to New Orleans. Like, it's not gonna.
They need one though. Like,
no, they need a quarterback bad, but
Yeah, and they'll take one either way. I think if Shedeur for any reason is off the board, they go in another direction as far as QB goes. Mm-hmm. There was
but like does Jackson Dart get taken
that's
that
where
early?
My head went right there. Yeah. Jackson Dart. I was like, oh, maybe he makes this move.
Real impressive combine.
Well, the thing is that Derek Carr is still there. So
that guy's a loser.
But take this into consideration.
What are we doing right now?
Derek Carr is big trash.
Right.
Big
cheeks.
Big cheeks. Big cheeks. Cheeky lakies. But what I'm trying to say is that if you're an organization, now this is just me trying to think practical, because obviously sometimes these NFL organizations do not think practical, right? Or at least they don't. It doesn't seem like they do. But if I'm in that situation, if I'm New Orleans and Pittsburgh is like, all right, listen, we're gonna give you the 11th pick, right? It's only 2 down. We're gonna give you the 11th pick and whatever other maybe assets or whatever the case may be, maybe some money or whatever the case may be, right? You may not get Shedeur, but you can still get another quarterback if you want. That's probably in that same tier, because let's be honest, Shedeur's a good quarterback, but it's not like he's like blowing anybody away. If
Yeah.
he was, he wouldn't be going.
He's definitely good. It's just like,
He's-
it's not like
exactly,
whoa.
but he's not blowing anybody away. So if that's
Which
the
is
case,
conversation we were having last
so if
time.
that's the case, if you're in New Orleans, that may be intriguing to you because you're looking at it like, all right, well, we can still get a quarterback if we want to. We still have a quarterback that we signed for a few years and paid him.
Kind of reminds me of Atlanta.
So it's
The
not
Kirk
like
Cousins Penix thing.
so
Or Deshaun
so you're
Watson.
sitting there. So you're sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, we should draft the quarterback. Should you? Because you just paid this motherfucker not too long ago. Derek Carr's been there for a year. You still got to pay Derek Carr.
Yeah.
You still have to play Derek Carr. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go draft a quarterback? Cool. You say you need one, but yet you have Derek Carr. Whether you think I think he's terrible, but still, you wouldn't have got him. This is why I don't think.
But teams do that though. Like
All
we
the
saw
time.
Atlanta. Like
All the
like
time.
Getting Penix. I
all
was
the
like,
time, all the time. But
And they
that's
think a quarterback is gonna save them too. That's the other thing.
That's
Because
it.
before I like just this shit blows my mind. Because either way, if you really think about it, both teams have a very good core of skilled players. Because Pittsburgh is obviously better. But if you're looking, Chris Olave is no slouch either, and you have Alvin Kamara that can also pass catch if you really felt like it in the moment.
Yeah.
However, both don't really have the most successful O-line in football, right? Where Justin Fields was getting chased all over the place to the point where Russell Wilson was in the same situation. Yeah, they made the playoffs, but then Russell Wilson got killed going down the line, didn't go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be able to maintain Shedeur Sanders in that same way if you make that move? Derek Carr couldn't stay on the field. Is that a little mix of him being garbage plus they can't maintain the quarterback too? Maybe. I was never a Derek Carr fan. In that little span when I thought that he might have been a Jet before Aaron Rodgers, I was going to go bald. Completely bald. I think it was going to stress me out. If I had to still maintain the fact that they were selling Derek Carr's jerseys as a Jet right now, that's when we were having the conversation before, hey, do you ever think you're going anywhere anytime soon? I might have. I promise you.
Well, my thing is.
So Shedeur, I'm sorry.
Go.
Shedeur, either way, I think we'll be in a similar situation, except Pittsburgh gives him a way better coach, a way better defense.
Exactly what I was saying. Exactly what I wanted to say.
Because on top of that, okay, let's say he can't stay up. T.J. Watt will get him back on the field like that. bro.
Tomlin's never had a losing season since his time at Pittsburgh.
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're right about the offensive line or whatever. Maybe like the pieces are somewhat similar. But at this point, what do we always say that's one of the most important? Sometimes it's just where you go
Yeah.
as a player, right?
Yeah.
Just your surroundings. A Shedeur Sanders is going to flourish way more in Pittsburgh than he would in New Orleans.
And
And I can guarantee, I feel very strongly and surely about that.
Yeah.
Just because of the way New Orleans runs shit and stuff like that. And they, trust me, they got like a historic past and stuff, but that Drew Brees, Sean Payne days, all that shit is long in the rear view, my friend. So if I'm Shedeur and I have any type of a say and the team is calling me and New Orleans is like, hey, and I'm like, hey.
Crazy now that an undrafted player has all this say now, like, hey, come get me. Like, I think he does have that power with who his name is,
Yep.
which is crazy to think of, but like he has some power to be like, come on, what do you got?
So we were having this conversation last episode that just dropped today for those that are listening. Is it because of him or is it because of his dad?
I think it's his name. I think it's his family legacy.
Come on, man. Because, yes, he's good.
If he wasn't a
But
Sanders,
his name is on the ballot, bro.
if his dad wasn't prime time,
And you know what?
he's just another prospect.
That's another reason why. Because, if I'm not mistaken, his dad is also his agent, right? Is that what it is? I might be completely wrong about that, right?
Can you be an
Can you look
agent
that up
and
on your
a
phone?
Yeah, sure.
Can you be an agent and a coach at the same time? Like, is that like a
conflict of interest?
like? Can you do that?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
He kind of is.
right now.
If he's not his agent, he's like his secretary or like second.
Or his
agent.
like, you know, like.
They haven't hired agents. Him or his brother, not him or Shedeur or Shiloh.
Shiloh.
So who's
Shiloh's a good athlete.
So
too.
who's talking that shop? His dad, probably.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sure his
that's
dad
not
knows.
that's not a direct agent. You know,
'Cause that might be
meeting.
his that might be his
someone
next
he already
coaching-
might have their phone number on the side.
That
You know
might
what I
be
mean?
his next coaching job wherever he goes.
Yeah.
That's what's
Remember, and there was all that.
And you
theory.
don't think that Mike Tomlin would give Dion an assistant coaching job?
Hey, Dion, we do not care.
Let me tell you something. You wouldn't love to see that. I don't like Pittsburgh. I'm not like a Pittsburgh fan.
Dion as the D coordinator.
But you don't even start off as a DB's coach. That shit would be fire than a motherfucker. Seeing Mike Tomlin and Deion Sanders on the sideline, Shador Sanders, what? With George Pickens and DK Metcalf and shit like that. My cousin's a Steelers fan, and I promise you, if I told him this right now, he'd be like, I'm all for it. He'd be.
I mean, who wouldn't be all for it?
Yeah, he'd be
all
for it.
You have one of the best defensive players in history, and he wants to transition his way into the league now that his son is a prospect.
He'd be all for that.
That's a story right there.
He'd be
Print
all
it,
for that.
put it as a headline on the paper.
But would the Steelers want that?
That's the
I don't
thing.
know,
I
yeah.
don't think Mike Tomlin could handle that big of
With
a
the
personality
Steelers-
in
with the
his
Steel-
coaching
Oh
group.
no, I think he can handle it. It's would he want to?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a
you're
lot
not-
of baggage.
Because there's not too much ego in the place of good coaching.
Dion is not. It's hard for me to see Dion playing second fiddle to anybody really.
Right.
Just his personality.
He's a type A.
There's no way he's doing the transition, let's say, like a Harbaugh. He's not going from winning the chip in college to making a successful run in the NFL. It's not going to be night and day like that. Also, Harbaugh had that previous experience. That's a whole different story. But
I understand what you're saying. As
Yeah.
if he should be in that type of role.
right,
That's fine, but I don't know if Pittsburgh. Just because
The
Mike Tomlin
organization,
is such a
the front
strong-
office.
right.
Pittsburgh is
The
like one
Rooney
of the
family,
It's one of those type of places, right?
Yeah,
No games, it's fucking football.
Yeah. Legacy.
We
Yeah.
live in Pittsburgh.
Six-time
Hey
champs.
Don, have you ever seen that guy? Do you ever see that?
Hey,
that
Dan.
TikTok? Hey Don, hey Deb.
We're gonna go down to the
Yeah.
pub.
You want to go down to the? Want to go down to the lounge?
Is that the guy that like, wears like the fake stomach?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Hey Deb.
Hey Dan,
Hey,
and he
Dan.
has like the really small
Yes,
glasses.
Don.
Yeah, he's like,
Hey, Dan, what are you
Deb.
doing?
He said, yes, Don. You want to come meet down to the lounge? I would love to come with you down to the lounge, Don.
Get a couple icy lights down.
You know I love you, Deb. I love you too, Don.
That Yinzer accent, man. It's
Yeah.
something else. Oh,
You gotta love it.
That's good stuff.
So
but yeah,
all this build up, right? And that was 9.
one more pick.
So here we
Who's
are.
our
who's that
last
10?
pick?
Who's that 10?
Chicago, the Bears.
The
Oh,
Bears,
This is where the first O lineman is going to be taken.
they're never gonna be good again.
if not by us.
If not by us, I think it goes to Chicago. They take Armand Membu from Mizzou. I think he's the number 1 projected offensive tackle. This is where I think he ends up protecting the blind side of one Caleb Williams, who needs all the
Who
help.
needs it?
Big
You know,
time.
especially.
Big time.
I mean, people aren't really talking about it, but I think one of the most arguable, interesting free agents right now could still be Keenan Allen, depending on where he decides to land. So Chicago's missing a skill player in the place of where rookie quarterback Caleb Williams is really looking for a chance to sprout. And if he doesn't have that last option to be like, F it, Keenan might be up there, maybe he needs that offensive player to kind of keep him in place a little bit.
What about Romo Dunze?
I'm not saying that he's not
Oh,
there. I'm saying he
Dunes.
has one less option.
Second year.
If it was a 5-finger hand, now he's at 4. So he needs
Well,
a little
Romo
room to make
Dunes,
those, to let those
DeAndre
4 players
Swift.
scramble. No, I'm not
Romo
disagreeing
Dunze,
with
DeAndre
you.
Swift. Who's their tight end?
Cole Kmet.
Cole
Cole
Kmet.
Kmet.
Got
Shout
signed.
out
You
the
got
Irish.
a little squad.
I know
Caleb
they have a
Williams.
squad, but it was a squad plus Keenan Allen. Now he's out of the picture. Does he get re-signed? You don't know. Does he end up somewhere else? You don't know. Keenan Allen, even though he's older, he's a good player.
Well, I'm saying this in the sense of like I don't know if you need to. They might be able to find a second fiddle, a second playmaker in a sense like that in free agency or something like that still, or maybe just even lower in the draft because I
Which
do
is
think
also
that
true.
Roma Dunze can be a number 1.
Yeah.
I just think he needs to develop into
Yeah.
that. But I do think that he can. I think he's talented enough to be a number 1. And then obviously you got Cole Kmet, who's a very talented tight end, and you got DeAndre Swift, who's a really good running back too. So I do think that
Love DeAndre
offensive,
Yeah.
the offensive tackle is where they need to go to start off more so than any type of skill player right now.
And I think that's a safe call, especially while Chicago was under a lot of fire.
You got to do it. You got to do a safe call.
You got to do something. Hey, be quiet now.
Yeah,
This
and-
guy that we gave all us hype for last year, we're giving him a chance to breathe.
And now he's
a
got an
little bit.
offensive coach. Ben Johnson comes
Yeah.
over from Detroit, and so offensive coach gets an offensive player.
Very, very highly.
Help develop. Oh boy, right?
Yeah. Oh, you talking about our coach?
No, Ben Johnson.
Oh yeah, he helped develop Jared Goff. Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So if you're looking at a coach that
Caleb wants him. Yeah.
yeah, they're looking to keep this guy under helm probably for a really long time. He's looking like their big name guy. Secure your asset a little bit, you know, make him last as long as possible,
Mhm.
and then see where it takes you. And you know, Chicago's a rowdy fan base that people don't talk
The
about.
Bears.
On top of that,
Doubles.
they're listen. The Cubs have been through a lot. Everybody knows the Bulls have been through a lot.
Yep.
Everybody knows the Bears go through a lot. They gotta get
The Blackhawks, like, you know, they were a dominant
talk
dynasty.
to them about hockey, because you know I can't.
They are now bottom of the barrel. They have Connor Bedard, who was the first overall pick last year.
There you go.
But
And there
That
you
just
go.
made me because we gotta ask him before he goes, right?
Please,
And I think he might know what's coming up.
please.
We gotta ask him before he goes. We all know how much Jeremy loves hockey,
It's true.
so you gotta tell us where were you, and how did you feel when you saw Ovechkin break Gretzky's record?
oh, loved it. I loved it. I was home on the couch. They were playing the Islanders, so it was an afternoon game, so I was home. Following this trend of just him trying to break that record, you know, I talked about it on my show. Shout out to Deacon. Talked
Shout
about it
out.
last week on the last week's. It's not my first episode, but like the first episode in a while. Talked about how
The reboot.
yeah, the rebirth.
Mm.
We talked about how
like a phoenix out the flames.
what is it? The Phoenix, he goes into the ashes and comes out again.
yeah, it comes out
Oh, God.
full form. I'm
Harry
so
Potter
sorry.
shit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please. No, it was beautiful.
It's just that he looked at me, I looked at him, I flapped, he could go, and it was just like a thing.
It was like build up. It was like I'm looking at him. He's already
You ready?
That was a wrestling. That was the pop right there.
yeah, shit.
That's
Okay.
Sting when the sting of the crow
Right.
goes off in his
Yeah,
music. That's
fire.
you can audition to be Sting's new entrance song. But no, like just watching Ovechkin grow from this. I mean, man, I was a youngster when he was drafted, and coming out and he was scoring goals on his back and just sniping biscuits, as the kids say. I don't know if the kids- I don't know if the
Is
kids
Is that
say
little
that.
hockey term?
Oh.
But you know, I don't think anyone will ever beat Wayne Gretzky's point record
Right.
because he's got like 1,900 assists, which is crazy because he was playing
Sounds
against
disgusting.
he was playing against us three back in the day. But that's my point.
Shit, he would have had 40,000 assists if that was the case.
Dude, that's
Because
19
I'm
million.
shit on the
No,
ice.
no disrespect, but like the talent now that the game is just
I'm sure.
way better.
Yeah.
But
Like in all
That's
sports.
hilarious.
Alex Ovechkin's the greatest goal scorer of all time, and for what he's done to Washington, like being in school in Washington for 3.5 years
There you go.
was pretty cool to see him live in person. I know he plays
dope.
in the same division as the Rangers, so it's like I have to like dislike him, but I really don't. You know, Sidney Crosby, yeah, I kind of
Different
despise
story.
Sidney Crosby a little bit, but great player. I acknowledge that he's a great player.
Right.
I acknowledge my tribal chief, Roman Reigns. I had to throw in another wrestling
Nah, I
reference in
like
there.
it. I like it.
But no, Ovechkin, just him breaking that record is meant a lot, and they are on a roll right now as a team. They've clinched their playoff spot. They've clinched the first seed in the East. They are going to be a force come playoff time. I think they're one of my early Cup favorites to.
So Ovechkin still
take
got
it.
it.
He's 39. He's 39,
20
and
years,
he's aging.
40
He's aging like a Sauvignon Blanc. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
like a
Come
nice
on.
fine wine.
Yeah,
Only getting better with time.
exactly.
I love that, man. I love to see the OGs
Now he's not
still kicking ass.
He's not a two-way player. Like his defense is by no means it's
Right.
pretty invisible. But his offense, when you put that Washington power play
He's
on
Steph
the
Curry.
ice, yeah, he's
That's
a
sick.
master of the art. You know, Curry might be one of the best shooters of all time. Same with Ovechkin. I think his shot is remarkable.
Does he
And
have like a certain style that people don't do, or is he doing anything crazy when he's out there? Like,
I heard he's from what I heard.
You said behind the back a lot. Is that something that throws?
well, this is
people
one
off a
goal
lot?
like when early on where you can look up Alex Ovechkin's goal from you can just look up Alex Ovechkin goal versus the Phoenix Coyotes because that's a team that's no longer in existence, and this video shows up like it's the old FS1 from like the old score bug from like 2005-06, and he's just on his back, and the stick is just I can't even do it because he's on the ice when he does it.
Right.
And from that moment on, you're gonna want to look this up later, David. It's the greatest goal I've ever seen. And just from that moment, I was like, this player's special. Even as a kid, I was like, Ovechkin's gonna be the guy. And he was my favorite player growing up. Coming out of Russia, he's just a great player. He's a great personality. I mean, his Stanley Cup winning speech is iconic.
Mother Russia. I come from Russia.
We're not gonna be fucking suck this year. We're Stanley Cup champions.
My esophagus.
But no. Props to Ovi breaking the record. He is the best to ever do it.
You're a piece of shit.
No, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I don't know.
almost lost it.
You kept your cool. You were holding it in.
I almost lost
There's a long-running esophagus joke.
Shut up.
Esophagus?
Esophagus.
Yeah, we were talking in a Russian accent also one day. He just breaks into character, so we just be.
That's a line you dropped,
It's
David?
like, I hurt myself in my esophagus. Curses. So listen, man. I want to ask you one. I don't know how you can give me a brief answer to this one. He's done. He's tapped out. The lights are out. So I don't know if you can give me a quick answer. Courses.
I'm just trying to say that sometimes it's hard to breathe when
He hit me in my leg.
when you block my esophagus. It's hard to
My
breathe.
esophagus is blocked.
Nah, that shit was so funny. That
So,
fucking day, you have no
I
idea.
want to ask you this one last question.
God.
It'll be a brief answer. Since he had a tidbit for you, I also have. So,
Shit.
since you are in the rebirth of your podcast
Yes.
and you're getting back behind the mic, talking to people about the things that concern. I told you, tapped out. So about the things that concern you, right? In sports, he's take a lap. Go take a lap. So I want to ask you. I want to ask you this. What was the first time? This is a deep question now. What was the first time that you saw something in sports that made you say, I could talk about this for a living?
Ooh.
Like the first time you witnessed something and you're like, wow, like either the way that they spoke about it was great, or I can't believe what I just saw. I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Or let people know what I think. Like, what was that moment?
So growing up as a kid, I fell in love with broadcasters as equally I fell in love with the athletes because, the broadcasters are the ones telling the story.
Right.
And, growing up as a Ranger, Met fan, I had two of the greatest voices in my opinion. Sam Rosen, who's now retiring as the voice of the Rangers.
Yeah.
And Gary Cohen, who's the play-by-play for the Mets. I could remember just listening to how they called the game. I think the one moment that really made me go, wow, I want to talk about sports forever. 2006 NLCS, Mets Cardinals.
Oh.
Andy Chavez robs a home run and doubles up. I forget who was on first base, but it ended. So a guy was on first, running third, like running two, rounding second, rounding third.
Right.
He ends up robbing a home run, bringing the ball back, throwing it to the cutoff man, throwing it to Carlos Delgado, who was at first base, and they turned it into a double play. And Gary Cohen's call, he made the catch. He went to the apex of his leap and caught it in the webbing of his glove. And I was like, wow. As a little kid, you're just like, I want to do that.
Right.
And just playing NHL, FIFA, Madden growing up, I'll let you in on a little inside baseball. I would play with the volume off. and call the game myself.
That is cool.
That's the origin. So that's where I want to, like, when I write my book, which is a
How
thing
young
that
were you doing that?
5, 6, 7.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Maybe more like 6, 7, 8, but like 5 I'm really young.
So
but like
it's in your blood.
right. So like what my family and I have is like this saying, like, where, you know, my life has just been throwing all these curveballs, like, you know, with different job opportunities and still looking for that long-term opportunity.
Right.
My family and I say it's another chapter in the book.
There you go.
You know, like I'm back at New Balance. I'm back at my old job. Hey, it's another chapter in the book. Like Kevin Burkhardt, who just called a Super Bowl. You know, he was a car salesman. He grew up in Bloomfield, and he was selling cars, and then he got his job in...
And he's from Bloomfield?
Yeah.
And he just called the last Super Bowl.
Kevin Burkhardt, he's Tom Brady's partner.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was from Bloomfield.
Yeah.
Tracy's the best.
And he was SNY's reporter, so he was the field reporter for SNY for the Mets. And now he's calling Super Bowls. So he's someone that gives me hope, where it's like, hey, like, I'm 26 right now, but like there's a long way to go. And, you know, I try to find an opportunity, and talking about me calling those games, playing NHL 07 with OV on the cover. There you go.
Hey.
Greatest NHL game of all time.
Let him know.
There it is. That's the moment. That's where I was like, wow, I really want to do this.
Can we clap that
Yeah.
up? That's good. Where the love for the game begins somewhere. You know? So I think that's a beautiful way to put a bow on it. Listen, man, thank you as always for pulling
Thank you
up,
guys.
bro.
I know it's late, but thank you guys for having me.
Listen, we're right on time.
Yo, that shit, man.
If we can appreciate, that was hilarious, bro. Good time.
How
good
was
energy.
your esophagus, by the way?
Oh, man. Right now, I need some water or something.
Listen, we'll get you some water. As always, listen, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Cody.
I guess we might be having to push back the clown game, so look forward in the future to the clown game coming up. Thank you for your mock draft. Hopefully this will be on YouTube right before the draft comes to roll around, and they can see what you're thinking about. So
Heck yeah.
thank you guys, and as always, I'll see you.
I'll see you. That shit did me. That's how you should do me.
Oh,
You didn't have to throw that one in there. I wasn't expecting.
I didn't expect that big
Accent.
curses.
You know,